Since voter suppression has never stopped happening in America, and gerrymandering is de rigueur, or the fashion, in states with black populations, you can rightly argue that America has never actually been a democracy. I say rightly argue that, since all citizens must have the ability to freely vote if you are to legitimately call yourself a democracy. So with the US midterms being just a year away, I thought I'd take a moment and explain something that has been and will continue to determine US elections. And that thing is called redistricting. Because in years ending in whoever controls the Senate gets to apply census data to redraw electoral districts. And being that senators are both human, in power, and rarely defeated, they come at that function like their life depends on it, because it does. The example I'm going to use starts with a pool of voters, divided into, say, 50 blocks or polling stations. Altogether, this block of 50 has a population that would justify 5 congressional districts, each with 1 member, sort of like Connecticut or Oklahoma. And while neighborhoods and streets can often be clearly one party or the other, for the sake of simplicity, let's say each of these 50 polling stations represents a solid group of voters for a single party, in this case, red and blue. And for the sake of this example, 60% of the voting block support blue, while 40% support red. That actually is very close to populations of red states versus blue states in the last 3 US general elections. But let's not get sidetracked by the Electoral College today. So if the 5 members of Congress were decided by straight percentages, as in, say, a simple proportional representation system, then 2 members would be red and 3 would be blue. But the inherent problem with this, and any prop rep system, is that the dominant side would always remain dominant and its policies would always set the agenda. And any party being in power too long without risk of losing will inherently become corrupt or too comfortable, particularly if this sort of breakdown repeats throughout a majority of the country, which it sort of actually would, and is the reason why Democrats support eliminating the Electoral College, while Republicans are dead set against that. As with many representative democracies, America uses a multi-layered first-past-the-post system that has a greater potential for legislative majorities, changes in government, proper accountability, and the possibility of voting them all out. So at first glance, there appear to be only a couple of ways to break this group up into 5 equal segments. The first would be to mirror prop rep, and the second would always favor the majority. This second version, by the way, is pretty much how every state in America decides its electoral college representatives, and therefore who becomes president. But the reality of the situation is that no region is this uniform, with pockets of one group usually found within those of the others. And of course, there are often geographic boundaries that force separation, or in the case of low population states, over-representations, like Wyoming having almost half the population of Delaware, yet both having only 1 member of Congress because 0 members is not an option. Join me tomorrow for the second part, Gerrymandering for Beginners. On this day in 1820, an 80-ton sperm whale attacked and sank the Nantucket, Massachusetts-based whaling ship Essex, while it was some 2,000 miles from the western coast of South America. This report was part of the inspiration behind Herman Melville's 1851 novel, Moby Dick, and therefore also Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. What? It's also Name Your PC Day. Oh, Todd. Universal Children's Day, Peanut Butter Fudge Day, African Industrialization Day, and Absurdity Day. That's also every day for me. And that's today's Duza Bear Digest. See you tomorrow.